Good morning and welcome back to day 17 of our $20,000 December challenge. So we ended up making some progress last night. We've got a couple of estimates to send out still. So two of the ones that I went and looked at in person, one of which is a massive tile roof cleaning. The other one is another tile roof cleaning, ironically. And that one I have sold and scheduled for today. So I've got two jobs for today. It'll end up being over $1,000. Not by much, like $1,050 or something like that. But will still end up being a really good day. Ads are just not performing well, and I have a feeling it's probably because of Christmas being so close. It is currently Tuesday, I believe. Yeah, so it's Tuesday, and so tomorrow is Christmas Eve. Nobody's thinking about their roofs right now, and that's just the reality of it. You know, they stuff like that does have an impact on advertising and all of the sorts. So anyways, it gives me some time to get some ads, and I am still running some ads. It just sucks having to spend, is $40 per lead, because that's what it ended up running at last night. I've got a couple of estimates still to send out from yesterday, and then I've also got a couple that came in this overnight to talk to and hopefully get an estimate to. So I really need to get a roof cleaning ad out though too, because gutter cleaning is great when there's rain, but when there's no rain, people don't look for it. So really roof cleaning is the one kind of year-round service that I can offer. So anyways, I had to stop for gas, but we're heading to our first job of the day. It's just a gutter cleaning, and I did this one a couple of months ago, so I'm hoping it's not horrible, but time will tell. So I'll see you once I'm there. All right, we were at our first job of the day. This is kind of an overview. Brand new roof, brand new gutters. And like I said, I did this about 2 months ago or so. But some areas are clean, other areas are very packed, like right over the downspout. So I'm sure he was probably still having problems again. I might even find a plugged downspout, who knows, but I'm gonna go ahead and get to this one because I want to get to that tile cleaning job and hopefully not be stuck out all day. So we're gonna get this knocked out here. All right, there wasn't really much to report at our last job. I got finished up though, it went really smooth. Customer was happy with it, got paid. That was about the gist of it. This, although, is our second job. So we've got a concrete tile roof. Luckily this is a flat tile and not a Monaire. Monaire is when it is wavy. So in other words, there'd be a channel right here and a channel right here. Those ones are a bit more difficult. They take a bit more time to clean. So got a little bit of moss growing there. The gutters are really fine for the most part, but basically what we're gonna have to do is I've got two tools that we'll use to clean this roof with, and this will come out about perfect. So we've got steel wire brush and our 15-in-1 paint scraper. So essentially all we're doing in between every tile, just like that, and you can see here, comes out amazing. These tiles are a little close, so it's making it a bit more of a pain, but comes out great. And then we use a steel wire brush. I also have one on a pole because that ends up making things a lot faster, especially when it's a flat tile. And then we just go along the bottom edge here, just like that. So that's what I'm going to be doing for this entire roof. It's just this section here, this back section. We've got this little section over here, and we've got a smaller section down here, and then there's one little valley over here that needs it as well. But that's going to be everything. And then we are going to powder this, and here's what I will tell you. On a concrete tile roof, so we got this here. On a concrete tile roof, the only treatment to do on these is a baking soda treatment. By using zinc on these roofs, zinc will actually etch and eat away at concrete. So by doing that, essentially what it will do is on your tile, you will start to get granule coming off, like when you're walking on an old shingle roof that needs to be about replaced. You'll notice in the gutters you have tons and tons of sand coming off. Well, concrete tile roofs will last literally 100 years plus, but if you zinc them, the same thing will happen to a tile roof as what happens with shingle roofs. That granule starts to come off, your sand from the tile starts to come off, the tile itself gets thinner, and come a point, water will seep through the tile. So in other words, your roof is now void, just by putting zinc on it. So anyways, really, really, really important to never put zinc on a roof, on a concrete tile roof. The other thing too is, if you are very cautious, very careful, you can soft wash these roofs. I have done a few, but I also know what I'm doing here. So if we look in here, here's your ridge trim. So we've got our ridge tape in here. This stuff, though, it doesn't do a whole lot. Really all it is it's preventing animals from really being able to get back in there. On a lot of roofs, they don't put ridge tape. Or, over here I can show you, on our gables, so our gable tile, look, this is all coming off. Do you really want to be the guy that sprays water directly into there? Water and bleach? I don't. So, in other words, if you're one of those guys that puts a ladder up to the gutter and then sprays your soft wash up here, you can end up putting chemical literally in the house, because some of these roofs, I'll show you, so this roof is actually a drape system. So you can see I'm able to push down on this. That means that there's no plywood under this. So, in other words, you have your rafters on your roof, and then on a lot of these you will actually have plywood as well, and then paper. On this one, there's just rafters, there's battens. So right about here, underneath these tiles, there's a batten. Underneath here, and it's gonna be right about the bottom edge of these tiles, and that's what your tiles actually sit on. So anyways, all of this to be said, if you aren't cautious about that kind of stuff, you can end up causing a significant amount of damage. And that's why you can end up charging a lot of money for this stuff, is because that little bit of knowledge can be the difference between having your roof cleaner being the reason you have to replace your roof, or being able to make your roof last significantly longer than everybody else's. So anyways, that's enough yapping for this. I'm gonna go ahead and get to it and get this tile roof all cleaned. Alrighty, we have just finished up this big section. We've still got over here to take care of, and down there, and then that little valley in the front. But really not too bad, so I'll show you. Filled up the gutters, not a whole lot though, but came out awesome. So clearly some very tedious work, but they just come out amazing. And something to note too, all these little spots like this, you can see them kind of all over the roof, and how the bottoms here look just so dark. All of this will, once we get one good rain, that's just dirt. It's literally just dirt that I can't blow off. This time of the year, especially when the moss is kind of full of water, the dirt doesn't crumble off nearly as much. It really just turns into mud. So I don't know if you could see it in the video much, but I was actually having to smack my brush against the tile. That's what all these marks are from, and get all of the mud out of there. So anyways, going super smooth. We're got a couple more sections to go and do. I started that at 1 o'clock, and it is now 3 o'clock. So 2 hours to get this section knocked out. Like I said, very tedious, but that's how these come out so good. And unfortunately, that's why this stuff is so expensive and can take days to complete on, you know, big roofs. But anyways, so I'm gonna go ahead and get to it, get this finished up, and hopefully before the sun goes down. So anyways, I will catch you once I've got an update. All right, so that took a lot, well, not a whole lot longer. It took about an hour longer than I was expecting it to. Everything came out super good. It just I ended up finding moss growth on the front section that I hadn't seen originally. So ended up taking some extra time, but no harm done. So it's about 5 o'clock right now. So I ended up running a bit late, but I also started late again. So anyways, we're heading home, and I can't see with this flash on, so I will see you there. All right, it's future me. That job ended up going super smooth. I really didn't have any other updates. As for selling jobs or getting estimates out, I did get some estimates out in the morning, but that was kind of it. So really, we knocked out a great day. We got to do a tile roof. I love doing them, even though they are as tedious as they are, just because of how good they come out and how great the customer feels about paying for it. So anyways, we're going to leave it here, and we're going to be on to day 18 tomorrow. So I really appreciate you watching. Leave a comment if you have any questions or anything. I love talking about tile roofs. So I'll leave it here, and I hope to see you tomorrow.